Hello, welcome to this update for the US and Canada. So let's see what's happening first with the severe weather. So we have a slight risk today for day one and a marginal. The slight risk parts of Oklahoma and Texas, and the marginal southeastern New Mexico and parts of Texas and Oklahoma. So let's see here. We have a 15% wind threat in the added a hatch area for potential hurricane force gusts and some 15 and 5% areas. So be aware there of the damaging winds with those storms, especially southern Oklahoma, northern Texas. Tornado threat 5% and 2%. So 5% chance of tornado occurring within 25 miles of a given point. So be careful there. They upgraded this today, so be careful. There's a 2% around it, like Texas and Oklahoma. And the hail, less than 5% hail. So because there's few instability and stuff. Let's see, scarce severe thunderstorms are expected to develop across west, northwestern Texas into southwestern Oklahoma this evening and continuing through daybreak Monday. So especially tonight, this might be overnight event, poses a risk for severe wind gusts and a few tornadoes. So be careful there tonight and all the way into tomorrow and this evening. So have some ways to receive alerts and everything, especially with the wind and the tornadoes. So here for the her, it does show some showers in New Mexico and some rain there, maybe some snow too in parts of New Mexico, and it does show a storm or two in eastern Texas there later tonight. And the main line, like southeastern New Mexico and eastern Texas, shows right by like tonight shows the biggest storms around western Texas Monday morning and tonight. Especially you see that line there, central and western Texas. So this continues to central northern Texas tomorrow morning, and southern Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma especially. And this is alright, like tomorrow at noon or something. There's still the line of storms, much weaker, but still a line of storms continuing there. And after Monday into Tuesday, this might enter Louisiana and join with the remnants of Sarah in the Gulfs, might cause some more rain there. But be aware, uh, those storms before it in eastern Texas, but especially that line that develops in western Texas this evening and throughout the night might have some bigger damaging winds and embedded tornadoes there. So be careful. Now the whole area shows that system there developing across New Mexico and Texas and Oklahoma, and you see the rain extends all the way up into Missouri there. And then the system just keeps going north, more rain into like the Midwest and the northern plains there later. So be aware there. And here in terms of Cape, there's more Cape in eastern Texas, but where those storms will be at doesn't show much Cape, especially because you'll be during the night and morning, barely shows any Cape there. So this will be more like a low instability environment there. But the wind shear, there'll be a lot with this. There'll be a lot of wind energy with this system, so that shear might make it more favorable for tornadoes there. So be aware of that, and just the damaging wind gusts within the storm there. So be aware. And there's this like this as the wind gusts shows some very high winds in the mountains of northern Mexico, so be aware there too. And does show there like in south those stronger winds with those storms, especially tomorrow morning for central Texas. Show some the stronger winds there, potentially 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts, or even stronger if the storm is very strong, like they mentioned in the wind threat there. in that hatched area. So be careful. They also have here the max wind gusts. So they do have some high winds near Oklahoma too, um, from the storms too. But generally some strong winds from this big system. They'll have a lot of wind energy, so some 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts in Oklahoma as well, and throughout western Texas, some close to 70 mile per hour gust or even more by the her here. This might change, but be aware of those stronger winds there. And here, let's see, we have this. The map shows the heavy rain in the red, and severe storm shows like the storms there, some just general rain in the north and parts of Canada, and shows some snow, Wyoming and Idaho and parts of Utah, and more freezing rain possible in that red across parts of Washington and Idaho and Oregon, especially like northern Nevada or something. So be aware some heavy snow possible in parts of Idaho, northern Idaho too, northwest Montana, Washington and Oregon, even northern California. So be aware there. Monday, tomorrow, still the severe storms and shows a big area of snow all the way from Colorado to Canada, shows a lot of snow, and shows Washington and Oregon, the mountains specifically, some heavier snow, a part of Northern California too, and Idaho, western Montana, and Wyoming. Be aware of more snow, still some rainstorms, the south in some areas. For Tuesday, again the risk of flash flooding in the southeast, and some heavy snow, and even a freezing rain or two possible in North Dakota, and more mixed precipitation in the north there, even a freezing rain or two like North Dakota and to Saskatchewan. And so shows more heavy snow Washington, Northern California, and parts of Oregon, and a snow or two in Colorado, Wyoming, some areas for day 3. So be aware. We have from Sunday to Monday, from the storms tonight, some close to 3 inches in Texas and Oklahoma, be aware there, and more rain in the northwest, close to 3.5 inches some areas, but that's mainly snow in the mountains. So shows a shower or two in the northeast in some areas. Shows here for Monday to Tuesday, some heavy rain near like Louisiana, Mississippi, close to 2 inches or even 3. Shows more across the central northern plains and more there. And in Washington, still in Oregon, some rain, Northern California, and some areas. So be aware. Day 3 shows another round of rain in parts of Northern California and the coast of Oregon, Washington. In the north, shows some rain there. And shows more rain, some heavy rain in the Gulf near Florida and in Alabama. There's some areas to the southeast because of the remnants of Saya and the front, so be aware. Day 4 shows heavier Northern California. Be aware there is still a shower to southern Florida and like the northeast, some more rain there from like between day 3 and day 4, especially during Thursday and Friday on day 4, some more rain in the northeast, and there'll be snow too, but I'll show that in a second. And day 5, next Friday to next Saturday, still Northern California, more and Oregon, those areas, and shows more rain than northeast still. Day 6, more in California, some next Saturday, and some in the northeast. And day 7, still some general rain through California, and some showers in the northeast, and some areas of the north. So be aware. Day 1 through 7 shows that heavy rain near 3 inches or something, even more, in parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. It shows close to 3 inches or more in Texas, and shows that rain, especially in New York, some more rain in the northern plains because of that low pressure. But on the northwest, we have potentially some 20 inches of rain in the next 7 days coming to southwestern Oregon, Northern California. They have some spots of 15 to 20 inches of rain there, so there'll be a system later this week that will really dump some crazy rain there. So be aware there, especially later next week when the system arrives, with like some flooding potential and heavy snow. So be careful there. Now, if you check day 1 through 2, shows mainly in the south there in the plains and the northwest. Day 1 through 3, more in the southeast because that system, and more somewhere in the northwest. Day 1 through 5, we start getting some bigger amounts in Washington, California, and Oregon, California. Day 1 through 7 goes up even more, so be careful there. Uh, the excessive rainfall shows a marginal risk near Oregon, California today, and marginal in Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, Oklahoma, and a slight risk, especially in Texas and Oklahoma. So be aware, slight risk of flash flood potential with those storms, so be aware. Day 2, a marginal in Louisiana to Alabama, and a marginal from Texas to Minnesota. So be aware there's some more rain. And day 3 shows a slight risk from southeastern Louisiana to Florida because the remnants of Saya and the front, so be aware some heavy rain there. Some flash flooding potential, marginal risk all the way into Alabama, northern Georgia, so be aware there. And a marginal risk parts of the coastal Washington, Oregon, and California for Tuesday and Wednesday. For Wednesday, a slight risk in California and Oregon there, and a marginal. And depending on how this goes, this might change later next week. But now they have a slight risk and a marginal. So these are day 4. Be aware there later this week in Northern California, and day 5 still a slight risk in Northern California and Washington and Oregon. I keep confusing that, so be careful there. This from Thursday to next Friday, so like Wednesday to next Friday will be the heaviest rain there, so be careful. Snowfall probabilities does show a finger or two in New Mexico and northern Mexico, and shows more a finger or two northern Nevada, but some heavier snow those mountain peaks of Northern California, and heavier there like Washington and Oregon. So be aware, shows more in Idaho, western Montana, into Canada there's some heavier snow. So be aware. Day 2 shows heavier in Washington still, Northern California, and and Oregon there, especially in the mountains of Oregon. Shows more around Wyoming, Nevada, Nevada, finger tuba, northern Utah, and Idaho, especially in Idaho and Montana. Day 3 for like Tuesday to Wednesday shows some more probabilities in Northern California, in Oregon, and like most of central Washington, those mountains. So be aware in Washington there, and shows some higher probabilities in British Columbia as well, and into like central Canada, showing some in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, including North Dakota, some more snow Tuesday into Wednesday because of that system there, so we'll check that as well. Day 4 for Wednesday and Thursday shows more parts of Northern California, some slight probabilities, heavier still in Washington and Idaho, and in Oregon some more snow. Shows still a finger or two in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Day 5 next Thursday to next Friday shows starting in the northeast some scared light snow in the mountains, especially in West Virginia and the Appalachians. It shows more parts of Washington and a finger or two in Oregon, and more like Montana and parts of Idaho. Day 6, something a little bit in Northern California and the mountains, and more throughout Montana and parts of Washington and Idaho. Shows still some in West Virginia, some more there, and more a finger or two in the northeast. And the day 7 shows again a finger or two in the northeast and the Appalachians, shows more all the way down the Sierra Nevada there in California, next Saturday to next Sunday. So be aware parts of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho in those areas. But this will change. It's just the probabilities there. So now there's that system, the Baja, going there to bring those storms to Texas and those areas, and there's the low pressure in the Pacific Northwest, and that's day 3. So that's day 3. So yeah, Sunday, yo, good, because it doesn't show day 1 or day 2, it shows just day 3. But here, like day 4 shows Thursday, November. Okay, so this Thursday, the low pressures are in the Great Lakes there, and we'll start bringing that rain and some snow in the northeast. And so day 3 is like Wednesday, that shows that big system, the northwest there, that will blast that heavy rain in Northern California. And day 7, next Saturday and Sunday, shows more a higher pressure in the southeast, and some stuff the northwest too. So be aware, still the winter storm severity index shows some areas of major and extreme in Oregon. Day 1 through 3, so some major there and extreme. So be aware that it's mainly due to snowfall amount, especially the mountains of Oregon, so be careful there. And Idaho, North Dakota shows very slight. Snow load, some mountains might get some bigger snow load, even an area of extreme there. Ice accumulation, not really, but there might be a thing or two. Flash freeze, not really. Blowing snow, some shows more blowing snow in the plains there. North South Dakota shows the mountains there. Ground blizzard, not really. Maybe it shows a tiny thing or two in Montana or even South Dakota. So be aware of those areas, and yeah. So here they still have the hazards here, the heavy precipitation in the northwest, some heavy rain in the south and southeast, and the plains there, the severe weather. So be aware, shows some more rain in the northeast too, and the high winds there in the plains. Day 8 through 14 does show some many areas of heavy snow, the Appalachians, near the Great Lakes, some high winds there near the northeast, and shows the below average temperatures in the southeast, shows risk of heavy snow in the northwest, and shows risk of heavy snow, slight risk of heavy snow, and moderate risk of high winds. So yeah, be aware those areas. And one interesting thing is that even the tropics outlook is highlighting those below average temperatures there in parts of the south, in Texas, and some areas. So that's interesting. So yeah, be aware. And here, like the 24 max wingas, it's not showing anything crazy here, but this is until tomorrow morning, so it starts picking up some 50 even to 70 mile per gust in western Texas there in New Mexico. So be careful, shows some higher close to 50 mile per gust or even more in Oklahoma, 55 to 60. Shows some mountains of California, close to 65 mile per gust, and even more than 70 mile per gust in parts of Montana, especially northern Montana there. Wyoming, more than 50, Lake Superior. So yeah, be aware in those areas. The 48-hour snowfall from their forecast here does show still close to 60 inches of snow in a mountain peak of Oregon there. So 30 inches of snow in the surrounding mountains, so be aware. Shows more there around Wyoming and in Idaho, western Montana, so be aware of more snow. Shows even a mountain peak or two in Washington, close to 50, 60 inches even in Washington and Oregon, so be careful the heavy snow there. And shows in California, thing or two in New Mexico there, and even Arizona, a snow or two, so be aware. And the 48-hour quantitative rain precipitation does show some heavy rain from Texas to Kansas and some more rain in Louisiana, Mississippi, and those areas next 48 hours, and the snow and the rain there, the northwest. So be aware. And the high temperature still shows some higher 80s in southern Texas today, Sunday, and some lower temperatures in the mountains there across the west. But what happened here? So here, but tonight into Monday morning shows some 20s and teens in the mountains of Colorado, especially some 30s, and so be aware, like in Idaho, those areas, the colder temperatures, and some mountains of California, especially the Sierra Nevada, show some 30s in the northeast as well. So be aware. For Monday, shows still cold during the day in the northwest, and some 80s in the south, still in 70s, and during the night, Monday night to Tuesday morning, shows some 50s or 60s around the south, 30s in the north, northeast, and shows like 10.5 Fahrenheit in the northwest, especially in Wyoming. Those mountains might be close to like -1 Fahrenheit in the highest peaks, 24 Fahrenheit, 5 Fahrenheit, even some like 10, 11 Fahrenheit in the Sierra Nevada, some higher peaks to like 4 Fahrenheit, shows some like 20s and teens in Colorado, some 20s all the way into Arizona, some 19, 23 Fahrenheit in Montana, to 24, 17. So be aware there, those colder temperatures. Day 3 for like Tuesday, during the day shows those cold temperatures. Even during the day on Tuesday shows the maximum temperatures around 19 Fahrenheit, so very cold. Stay very warm there, and shows some 80s still in the south, some 70s, and some 40s and 50s in the north. But Tuesday night to Wednesday, especially Wednesday morning, will be very cold, especially Wyoming and Colorado, those areas. This shows some parts of the northwest, close to like 0, -1 Fahrenheit, 3, 2 Fahrenheit, so very cold there. Be careful, 4 Fahrenheit, 14 Fahrenheit, 2 to 3 Fahrenheit in Colorado, some higher spots to like -1 Fahrenheit. So be aware, 6, 9, 14 Fahrenheit. So be aware in those areas. It shows so like some things and even single digits all the way down to northern New Mexico, some 20s, southern New Mexico, western Texas, some 30s, the northeast, such like things in northern Montana, North Dakota, 13, 17 Fahrenheit. And yeah, so be aware of those colder temperatures. Day 4 during the day shows even the maximum temperatures around 25 Fahrenheit in the Dakotas, North Dakota, 31 Fahrenheit. Still some 80s in southernmost Florida, some 40s the northeast, some like 30s in parts of the of of Idaho, Montana, those areas, and 20s in the highest mountains. But uh, Thursday morning does show like 11, 13 Fahrenheit in parts of North Dakota, 20, 18 Fahrenheit, 25. Starts showing some like 30s Fahrenheit spreading to Ohio and Indiana, some 34, 39, all the way down in Tennessee, even like 47 Fahrenheit in Florida, and some 23, no, not 23, 43 in Georgia, Texas, and 30 is in northern Texas. So like in the mountains, still very cold in Colorado, New Mexico, the mountains of California, and some higher valleys there, so like 30 Fahrenheit as well. So be aware. It shows like 41 Fahrenheit all the way down to Louisiana during the early morning. And like Thursday during the day, it shows some 70s in Florida again, in southern Texas, southern Arizona, to 81 even. Shows some 27 Fahrenheit, the max temperatures, North Dakota, 30, 32 Fahrenheit. So be aware, some higher peaks of West Virginia and North Carolina. Some colder temperatures still in the mountains of the northwest there. Day 5 does show for Friday mornings some like 30s and even some high 20s in the highest parts of West Virginia, some 30s across the northeast, the Midwest. It shows like some 13, 17 Fahrenheit in the Dakotas, 25, 28 Fahrenheit. Still cold in the mountains of the West, but not as crazy as before, but shows some 24, 31 Fahrenheit, 34, and some 40s all the way down to Florida, like 46, 41, 44, some high 30s in northern Alabama and Georgia. So yeah, BR. And day 6 for like Friday during the day shows still some 25, 28, 24 Fahrenheit northern North Dakota, Holland, South Dakota, some 33 Fahrenheit, 28, so BR. And like those northern areas of Montana, Washington, Wyoming, still some cold in the mountains in the north. West Virginia is still cold in the mountains during the day. And like next Saturday morning shows all the way to some 10 Fahrenheit, 11, 10 northern North Dakota, some 30s in the Appalachians, and all the way down to Georgia, so like 37, 41 northern Florida, so like 40s and 50s near Texas, more 60s on the coast, and shows so like 30s the northeast. And yeah, In the west, still some like 30s and 20s in the mountains, so be aware. And next Saturday during the day, still some 20s and 30s in the north. They're still cold, in a part or two of the northeast. So yeah, be aware in those areas. Now, the models for like the systems, the GFS shows the system there, the planes, the severe storms and everything. This goes, and at the same time, the system, the northwest, the heavy snow, California, Washington, and Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, and all those areas. Then the system goes there, and the GFS has been becoming a bigger snowstorm parts of Canada there around Wednesday. Then shows like uh, the Gulf moisture in the south, the remnants of Saya there. So the storms pass through Florida, the remnants of Saya. And then this does have the low pressure spinning there in the Great Lakes. Some snow possible near Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, and parts of the Northeast. And this like next Friday shows more snow in the Northeast and some snow in the Appalachians. And the GFS showing more snow on the 24th, like northern Maine into Canada. It shows there the GFS like on next Wednesday, the seat in the northwest, the heavy rain in California, snow and mixed freezing rain in a spot or two, shows more snow like next throughout next week. Next Thursday, Friday, right, shows in the northwest more snow, especially next Saturday, the 23rd, in the northeast as well. It shows some spots of freezing rain mixed in the snow, and especially next Sunday, the 23rd, 24th, shows some heavier snow in the northwest there. And yeah, the GFS crosses this system throughout the US, all the way to the northeast, some snow again. The GFS has some crazier systems with snow after that, but that's too far. We can't trust the model that far. But the European does have that system there. Does snow in North Dakota, Montana, so shows more snow like South Dakota and North Dakota until Wednesday. Minnesota, the low pressure spins. The snow in the Appalachians in some areas, then keeps spinning there. And it has the system next Wednesday in the northwest, the heavy rain in California, and Washington and Oregon, especially some heavier snow in the mountains there. Then this goes still some rain by next Friday in California, and more snow next Saturday and Sunday, Montana and other parts of the northwest. And after that, the European does have some weird stuff too. So let's see here. Like for North America, the wide view does show as some systems like now are in central to northern Canada with some snow, but that system down there on Tuesday and Wednesday might potentially bring some heavier snow to parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan and more areas, and that shows that powerful low pressure next Wednesday off the Pacific coast should bring more snow to British Columbia in the mountains, and not areas like a snow or two in the mountains of Alberta. The European is showing like next Wednesday that snow still like the Dakotas, Minnesota, some snow like Manitoba still and Saskatchewan. This goes there. It's showing another low pressure next Friday 22nd, still some snow in British Columbia in some areas. And the European does bring on the 24th a new system like from Montana with some snow to like more snow in North Dakota on the 24th, and Saskatchewan to Ontario also showing more snow, but that's like a week away from now, so we can't know exactly what will happen. But there's the icon here I didn't show before, so it does show the severe weather there in Texas and Oklahoma. The low pressure pulls north, brings more rain in the plains and Midwest, and the icon already has like some cold air and snow in like in Montana and Wyoming and those areas, and like in Saskatchewan it has some snow, and it joins with that low pressure from the severe weather and produces more snow in parts of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and North Dakota there. until like Thursday. Then it has on Wednesday that big system in Washington, Oregon, California with the heavy rain, especially in Northern California, and it has the heavy snow like in the mountains of Washington, southern British Columbia, and Northern California and Oregon. So goes there. Meanwhile, there's this low pressure near the Great Lakes on like the 20th. Shows some rain there in the northeast starting on like Wednesday into Thursday. Shows more snow in Ohio, in Indiana, and all the way in the Appalachians there, some areas of the northeast until next weekend. So yeah, be aware. And now there's like the Canadian Model 2, so it does show that severe weather system there goes north, produces some snow in the Dakotas there, and Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and it goes there some hints of snow in the Midwest, especially in Ohio and West Virginia next Friday, showing some hints of snow in the Northeast too, and meanwhile it shows some snow like northern Alaska like Wednesday, a low pressure system in the Arctic, some scattered snow northern Nunavut in the Arctic, and does show on Wednesday the bigger system northern California, Washington and Oregon, with more snow throughout Washington, British Columbia, northern California, and in Oregon, and all the way into Idaho, some snow, Montana, and this next Friday shows some snow all the way down to Virginia, with that system there, and it's showing some freezing rain and snow the next Sunday, the 24th, across like Alberta, British Columbia, northeastern Montana, and parts of Saskatchewan. And the Canadian is bringing that snow through central Canada there, all the way into Quebec, like the northeast in Maine. So we watch that too. But be aware, and I showed you the GFS first, but let's see here the wider view. So that does show the low pressure there, the severe weather and the snow later, the system in the northwest, and then does show like the low pressure spinning around the northeast. The GFS is more snow near the northeast, especially around like Maine next Saturday in Quebec in some areas. But the GFS does have that snow going all the way from the Pacific, crossing there, and all the way to the east again. But that's kind of a weird path. But that'll be a week from now, so we still have time to watch that. And uh, the temperature still shows those much below average temperatures in Alaska there, parts of the west. It shows those below average temperatures going all the way into the east coast there on like the 21st or something, and then maybe some more below average, some Arctic air after that, especially there in Canada. It shows the European does show like some areas of above average, but it shows the below average in northern Mexico and the west, especially in Alaska, some very below average. Like on the 20th shows that blast of below average temperatures going all the way to the east coast there, and yeah, so be aware in those areas. And there's this snow map here next 3 days. So today's Sunday until Wednesday, or Tuesday shows some more snow there. The northwest, some of the mountains of British Columbia, shows a lot in Oregon and Washington, especially in Washington, some a lot of snow there, and it does have some more there, like in Idaho, Montana, and those areas. So be aware. And in terms of like uh, the temperatures for the other areas like Canada, shows still those very cold temperatures in like Yukon minus 31 degrees, so minus 12, minus 10, especially at night, shows all the way to minus 34 degrees Celsius in Yukon, shows still like New Brunswick some minus 2, in Quebec some minus 3, minus 2, 0 degrees. Southern Ontario is quite fine, some 7 degrees, but cold in Northern Ontario, parts of Western Ontario. Monday morning tomorrow shows some mountains of Alberta all the way to minus 20 degrees, cold across British Columbia in many areas, and then this goes next Monday still shows a little bit less cold, especially like southernmost Ontario, close to 12 degrees, but still those brutally cold temperatures like Yukon and northwestern territories Of course, this is way less cold than the winter will be, but it's very cold already. Shows like northern Alberta, some minus 22, minus 26, northern British Columbia. Shows some areas of southern British Columbia, some 6 degrees in Vancouver, but the mountains, some very negative temperatures in the mountains. Then this area Wednesday, this goes shows that cold air branching a little bit further east, uh, Ontario, Manitoba, some -4, -7. This goes there shows like most of Ontario and Quebec some chillier temperatures again. British Columbia and Alberta, so some very cold temperatures in Nunavut later next week. And yeah, it shows even colder temperatures digging all the way down there on like next Tuesday, the 26th, not this Tuesday, but that's very far out. There's the GFS too, show like those very cold temperatures there, and kind of a break near eastern Ontario, but does show the temperatures, cold temperatures kind of coming back later next week. So be aware in those areas, and those are just the temperatures. The wind chills might be much colder, especially in some colder areas there. So let's see here. So here's like the GFS for the wind chill and the heat indices. Shows like Monday. That's right, Monday afternoon. Let's see like closer to Monday morning or something. So 3C shows like those colder wind chills across the northwest, and very cold air across Canada. This is in Fahrenheit, so imagine that in Celsius. It shows you like this Monday. I'll check a colder day, like Thursday, for example, shows some 3 Fahrenheit wind chills North Dakota, another to -1 wind chills in North Dakota. It's very cold across like Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and Alberta. -5 wind chills Fahrenheit will be close like -15 or even less in Celsius. So beware, but a little bit before that, on like Tuesday, does show like very cold in the Rockies there. So if they did have the temperatures there like close to -1 Fahrenheit, so the wind chills in those mountains show like -3 Fahrenheit, 6, 7, minus, oh, it has all the way to -13 Fahrenheit in northern Colorado there, the GFS. So be aware of those wind chills there. The European has some cold ones too. So yeah, be aware there. And now the wind gust, I kind of showed you the wind gusts, right? But just to show you again, they are very high. They're like northern Montana and Alberta shows some 109 km per gusts. Today, this is a little bit earlier. Now show like some 87, to like some 91 km per gust there. And now here shows some still in Montana, some central Montana, some 48 mile per gusts. Those mountains on northern Montana, some 63 mile per gusts or even more. Some parts of the Great Lakes, Minnesota, a little bit gustier. Does show those winds picking up across Texas there, and 46 mile per gust, the European. Later, Monday does have some like 60 mile per gust near Texas and Oklahoma, some 54 in some other areas, 48 mile per gust, and some high resolution models had all the way to like 65 mile per gust western Texas. So BOR still shows some stronger ones on like late Monday, but mainly in Oklahoma, close to 60 mile per gusts. Northern Texas, New Mexico, some higher gusts there. So BOR Tuesday, this goes, some gusty winds might accompany this into the Midwest, and not all there, some 49 to 50 mile per gust, and near like Colorado, Nebraska, and some high winds there too on Tuesday. This goes shows high winds North Dakota on Wednesday, so like 53 mile per gust, some areas all the way to 57. Colorado still to that area, northern Colorado there. So be aware Wednesday across the north, the European still has like strong winds next Thursday, the 21st in the plains, and then early next Thursday in the northeast and the east, like the Appalachians, it has some higher gusts next Thursday, and then North Carolina's a little bit gustier, Virginia some spots with 48 mph, West Virginia's some higher gusts in Maryland. So yeah, be aware next Thursday this goes there. The European still has some slightly gustier central to southeastern US later, and does have some like some other stuff, some other high gusts on like the 23rd across the Appalachians, so some higher gusts there on the 23rd, and the 24th does have some more stuff in Wyoming, but this is a week out already, so we can't know much. But what we do know that this system, the northwest on Wednesday, the 20th, and late on Tuesday, already shows some very crazy gusts. The Europeans like some 74 to 77 mph gusts. That the coast of Oregon, Northern California some 57 to even 61 mph gusts, 60 to 63 in the mountains of Northern California. Washington there show like some 74 to 68 mph gusts. Later on, this goes there. Still some very high gusts northeastern Oregon, 65 mph gusts, most of Oregon there. Washington and like Northern California, still some 59 to 61 mph gusts, especially in the mountains close to 64. That shows some areas under 68 mph gusts in Oregon. That goes there and like weakens a little bit, so yeah, but still shows a gust in the mountains by like the next Friday, and shows a tiny low pressure system in Washington there, in British Columbia next Friday, the 22nd. So be careful there. Now here does show for Western Canada. Let's see. So Tuesday, the low pressure goes there. Shows some parts of British Columbia, some 89 km/h gusts. The European model shows Wednesday, especially a little bit early on Wednesdays, has some spots in that island close to 100 km/h gusts, especially further north in those mountains of British Columbia, some 99 to 103 km/h gusts. Shows more across western British Columbia, most areas there more than 70 and 80 km/h gusts. Vancouver shows around 59, and we move this, shows like still on the tip of that island, so like 106 km/h gusts. Late on Wednesday, it shows even some mountains of eastern central eastern British Columbia, some higher gusts there, and the low pressure kind of dissipates. But Friday 22nd, southern British Columbia shows some higher 77 or more km/h gusts there. So be careful, stay safe. This might generate a lot of waves too and stuff. And tomorrow Monday shows some higher gusts, southern Alaska, some areas of the Aleutian Islands, so some like 55 mph gusts, and some areas there. This goes still shows high gusts in those islands there, and then the system goes towards the mainland there, some other areas, and those show some spots of southern Alaska, some 54, 55 mph gusts because of that system on like Wednesday. So be aware, like southernmost Alaska, some higher gusts too. And now here for further east shows Monday as some gusty winds northwestern Nunavut and northwestern territories. The European shows some more disturbed weather near Atlantic Canada, shows Nova Scotia, some occasionally higher gusts. Monday, this goes there, especially on eastern Quebec and Labrador, some 66 km/h gusts. Later on Tuesday and Wednesday, all the way to some 82 km/h gusts. That those low pressures keep spinning there, and yeah, it might bring some higher gusts to like Atlantic Canada next Saturday, the 23rd, as well as the northeast there. So, but that's a week out. We'll keep monitoring that. But does show like Monday, the 25th, some higher gusts like northern, just north of Quebec, and some stuff in the Great Lakes again on the 25th. But that's more than a week away. So yeah, And so be aware of that wind, temperature, and everything. Let's just see some snowfall accumulations from some different models. Here's the European does have that snow for like North Dakota, South Dakota, and into Manitoba, close to some 52 centimeters of snow. Some more there across Saskatchewan, some light snow western Quebec, western Ontario, a thing or two northern Ontario, and it does have a lot of some heavier snow, most of southern British Columbia, some spots close to 93 centimeters. Be aware there. Shows some northern British Columbia, but not as much. Shows a lot there. Southern Alberta shows some lighter snow this week too, and a day or two a little bit heavier. But be aware Manitoba and Saskatchewan there shows more like uh, in Labrador's a little bit heavier near the Atlantic. Some spots of Quebec there, like some higher elevations there. New Brunswick has nowhere too, and northern Newfoundland there. So BR Northern Alaska shows that snow there too, a tiny bit in southern Alaska. So beware. Now the GFS is a similar thing. The GFS some crazy amounts in Northern California there. Next 5 days, close to some 56 inches of snow. The next 7 days, 5 days, and shows more British Columbia, close to like 100 centimeters, 90 to 126 centimeters. BOR like it also shows more in Saskatchewan, some 50, more than 40, 50 centimeters, some more Manitoba and Ontario, northwestern Minnesota, North Dakota, and the GFS is more in the northeast there. Those areas close to 14 centimeters in parts of Quebec, some 23 centimeters, and does have in parts like northern New York, Vermont, some 16 inches next 5 days, 15 inches, West Virginia, some 4 inches, northern Michigan has some 17 inches, but the European has much less than Northeast, just like some 12 inches, a spot or two of New York, does have some in Pennsylvania too, and the icon has even less in the Northeast, has more around Pennsylvania, West Virginia. The icon is a lot in Ohio. Indiana has like some 16 inches in southern Michigan and Ohio, and West Virginia there. The European does have some in Indiana and Ohio and Illinois, but not as much. Some of the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee in the Appalachians. So yeah, and the GFS does have some around Ohio, northern Michigan, those areas. So be aware, the icon shows a lot too near like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, southern British Columbia, some mountains there, and those areas. And be careful when that system comes with like blowing snow, the wind plus the snow. So be aware there. And this mainly it. Let's just see like wind gusts with a different model too, so we don't just show like one model, and but be aware that these forecasts will change. Models aren't exact forecasts, they always change, so be aware. The icons all the way to 87-mile-per-hour gusts on Wednesday in a mountain of Northern California. Yes, some very high gusts near the coast, close to 64-mile-per-hour gusts. The Sierra Nevada has some higher gusts too, and at the same time, the icons some high gusts in the Rockies of Colorado and from North Dakota and those areas. Yes, some very high gusts the mountain peaks of Washington and some northern Oregon, so be aware there. And coastal British Columbia there. And the icon is like stronger gust in the Great Lakes because it has that system stronger there, but the other models are kind of different. So be careful in those areas and stay safe from the severe storms and everything too. Check the links, the links in the description to see the warnings and some severe weather warnings and stuff. Just to show the warnings very quick, shows like winter weather advisories from Wyoming to Montana and Idaho, New Mexico, high wind watches Northern California, hydraulic outlooks for the system coming, and show some winter storm warnings from Northern California to Washington, parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and Oregon there, and so be aware, and show some fire danger still in the northeast. It shows like some blizzard warning northeastern Alaska, so be aware there. And if you click here on blizzard warning, you you can see the full text here, what they expect, so be careful there. It shows some wind advisories, coastal flood warnings, and high surf warnings in Alaska, so not in Hawaii. So beware in Hawaii, some gusty winds, winter storm watches, northeast, northwestern Alaska, heavy freezing spray, and flood watches in Texas, Oklahoma. So be careful there. And here, let's see, they do have some snowfall warnings and stuff near British Columbia and Alberta in the higher mountains there. They mention the locations here. Some advisories, special weather statements for elevated ocean water and wind near British Columbia. And does show some stuff in Quebec and Labrador, some freezing drizzle advisory, Labrador Sea and Wabash, until Monday near noon. So wind warnings northern Quebec, some high winds there. So this is in the description too, and some winter storm warnings in some highways there of British Columbia. So be careful. And yeah,